will be a little hard is because it's basically brand new. Okay? When you have a right triangle and you use Pythagorean's theorem, how does that work? You have your hypotenuse and your two legs. And your hypotenuse squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Now, how many sides do you need to know something about to find? Two. The reason we have special right triangles, in special right triangles, you only need to know one side and you can find the other two. But that's only in special right triangles. The first special one I'm going to talk about is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Why do you think it's called a 30, 60, 90? I guess you could say right is being kind of redundant, but a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Does anybody have a guess?
That equals 180.
That equals 180, so what do you think the 30, 60, 90 has to do with? The angles inside of the triangle. The things we're going to learn today only work for this specific type of triangle. So you can't just say, okay, I've got a right triangle, I can use this. You have to have that specific type of triangle. This one, 30, 60, 90.
Are you like giving those out per?
Now, as you would imagine, this is my what degrees? 90-degree angle. This one's probably the what? 30, and this one is probably our what? This is roughly what they'll look like. Okay? Now, up here we named them C, A, and B. We're going to identify and label them differently. The first thing you always do when doing these, and this is what I want you to do in your homework, is I want you to identify which one is H, which one is S, and which one is L. Now, what does that mean? What do you think H means? How do I find the hypotenuse?
And whatever the right angle, like directly across.
So this right here would be my H, correct? Is everybody okay with that? Now we're back to the things that are new. Everybody look up here for a second, stop writing, you write it after I'm done. Like I said, I'm using something different. I'm not using A, B, or C. Okay, H is the hypotenuse, that one you're used to. S is the really important one. It is called the shorter leg. Now, how am I to know which one's the shorter leg if I don't know anything about this except this 30, 60, 90 triangle?
Look at it.
You could look at it, but how could you be sure?
Go to the number and then like go directly across.
I think you're saying right. Yeah. Well, I think what she's saying is, look here, find the smallest angle. What is the smallest angle here?
30.
It has to open its arms the least, right? So the one opposite it is probably my what? Shorter leg, correct? Wouldn't that be S, the one opposite the what? The smallest angle. So what would be the longer? L means longer leg across the biggest angle besides the 90. So this would be what? And they use cursive just because print L's are so hard to write. You know, it looks like a 1, doesn't it, when you write a print L, if you're wondering, in my opinion. So you guys see how to recognize the hypotenuse, the shorter leg, and the longer leg. This is very, very important. This is what I want you to do first. Okay? Now, we're going to have some values given to us. So then after we've recognized which one's which, always find S first. Find the value of S first. And there is a reason for that. If you find S, you have the ability to find every other side. But you can't find H and L without S. And there are two ways you can find S. S is either, in a 30, 60, 90 triangle, it's either your hypotenuse divided by 2, or S is equal to the longer leg divided by square root of 3. You ask, how do you know which one to use? Well, we'll get into that. Some of you may see it now, some of you may not. Obviously, if I'm given H, which one would I use to find S? Yeah, if I was given L, which one would I use? There you go. That's why you have 2. That's how you find S. Now, how do we find H and L? H is always equal to 2 times whatever S is. L is always equal to whatever S is times the square root of 3. That's how you find. So this is what you do first, and then you do this what? Second. Yeah, write it down now. Darn it, I forgot to make my screen bigger. Now what I would like everyone to do is when you're done writing that down, I'd like you to get your workbooks out and open up to page 101. I also want to tell you that what I am going to show you here is exactly how I want it done with your homework. Does everybody hear that? Has everybody got that down? Well, we're going to start on number 9. Those of you that are done. All right. I'll bring it back up later if we need it, okay? Number 9. Okay, first of all, what type of triangle do I have here? On most of your homework, they're probably there's going to be a set of 45, 45, 90s and a set of 30, 60, 90s, and you're not going to have to worry about that as much, but except for the last 3 problems. But tomorrow you're going to get a worksheet that I'm going to mix them together, and I'm just going to find the indicated variables. So you're going to have to identify, do I have a 30, 60, 90, or do I have a, do I have a 45, 45, 90, or do I have neither? In this case, what type of triangle do I have? First of all, it's right, but I can't use these things for special right triangles unless it's a special right triangle. Do I have a special one here? Which one? 30. This one is what? 60. This is what? Now, the first thing I want you to do is what? Label each side, what it is. Because you're going to have to find what S, and then S is equal to H is equal to, and L is equal to every time. And I'm going to expect you to write that up here. First of all, find S. How am I going to find S? Go to the smallest angle, which is what? And go straight across. It's what? So that's S. You can do everything right and do this part wrong, and everything will be wrong. Okay, then I'm going to find H. Which one's H? Opposite the what? So which one's H? I can't hear you. X? Somebody besides just her. Stop writing. Pay attention. Which one is L? Very good. Which one did they give to us here? First thing I say to always do is to find S. What did they give to you here?
S.
I want you to circle that. So after we're done, you know that that's what they gave you first. Because basically I'm going to give you 3 templates here on how to do this. One where guess what? Here we're going to do one where they gave us what first? Then you think we're probably going to do one where they gave us what first? And then we're probably going to do one where they gave us. Right now we circled what they gave us first. I want you doing that on your homework as well. So I have S. So what are my 2 things left to find? H and L. Over here. What is H equal to? 2 times whatever what? S is. I don't want you to worry about the X or the Y anymore. Until you get to the end, then you can place the X with the right part. So 2 times whatever S is. What is S? So what's H? Well, that was hard. See, that's what I mean by saying I'm not trying to be smart aleck or anything. This is hard because it's new, but the actual math you do and the formulas you're putting in are really rather simple. Now we're going to deal with some radicals, which might add some confusion to it, or some stress from you guys. Next thing I do, I need to find L. What is L always equal to?
S times radical.
S, whatever S is, times what? Radical 3. What is S in this case?
11.
So it's what? 11 square roots of 3. When I say this is how I want you to do your homework, this is how I want it done, period. End of discussion. I want to see you put it into the original equation. Why? It will help you memorize it better. If you show 2 times what? 11. 11, square root of 11 times square root of 3. I don't care if you can do this in your head. This is what I want on your paper. It's not hard. Did not take me long to write that down, did it? It will help you learn the material, and that's the whole idea here. Guess what? So what they wanted me to find X. What was X? To figure out which is which, all you got to do is look back at your picture. What's X?
22.
It's H, right? So it's 22. What was Y? So you see how we do that? Any questions there? Write that down. Not really concerned with that. Now we're going to go over to number 14. Everybody ready? Number 14. What is given to me here? First of all, what do I want you guys to do? Label each one, correct? What's what? I'm going to have an S, I'm going to have an H, and I'm going to have an L. Will you guys tell me what each of those are, please?
The H is 52 square roots of 3.
So this is my H. Okay?
S is Y.
Okay.
And L is X.
Do I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle?
Yes.
I do. 30 ring right there. Okay, so what's given to me? What'd they give me?
H.
52 square roots of 3. Circle it. That's what they gave you first, wasn't it? So, this is the type of problem where they give you H first. They gave you an ugly number. That's the other thing that will confuse you some. You're going to have a lot of ugly numbers, a lot of radicals. You're gonna have, that's why we did that at the first of the semester. Okay, what's the first thing I always find?
S.
And S is either what? H over 2 or L over square root of 3. Which one makes sense to use here? Why? Because they gave you H, did they not? So if you were using two formulas, which are over here, you can't see it on the, what we're recording, but it's either what? L over square root of 3 or H over 2. I'm going to use the one that had the H in it. So what is S going to equal? 52 square roots of 3 over what? Now, what do you think I'm going to want you guys to do on every problem? Simplify the what? Radical. The fraction. Things like that. If you don't start with a decimal, don't end with one. So obviously everyone needs to simplify. The 2 and both of these are outside of the square root, correct? Can I reduce? 2 goes into that how many times? So what is x? 26 square root of what? Like I said, the only thing that one could probably consider difficult there is just dealing with the ugly numbers, correct? So I found S, I was given H, what's left to find?
L.
What is L equal to? Whatever what? S is times what?
Radical 3.
Square root of 3. What was S in this case?
26 radical 3.
Stop writing and pay attention, people. Stop. Pencils down. What in the world am I going to do here? We do realize, now you wouldn't have to write this down in your homework, but this is one big multiplication problem, is it not? Like this. Does everyone understand that? What is square root of 3 times square root of 3?
3.
So this is just 26 times 3, is it not? You guys have calculators. What's 26 times 3?
78.
Good. So what is L?
78.
So that's X, and this is what?
1.
Can you guys do that? It's not too terrible, is it?
On L, like you got the 26 divided by 3.
Because that's what S was.
Oh, you put S.
Yeah, yes, you always, if you look up there in your formulas on the left, L is always S times, do you see it up there? It's always S times square root of 3. That's how you find L. You see it right there? So that's why you always have to find S first, because you see H is always 2 times S, L is always S times square root of 3. And what you guys are going to have to find is you're going to need to write these down, I don't know, on a note card or another piece of paper, have your notes right there, because you're going to need to refer to it every single time. You're not going to memorize this, nor should you try to pretend like you have it memorized right now. You're going to have to look at it every time. And eventually, after we do enough practice, hopefully what will happen? We'll have memorized it. So we'll not give it to you on the test. So now we've done where they gave you H. Has everybody got that down yet? Okay. Now let's go to number 13. On number 13, we've got to identify what's S, H, and L. Well, tell me which are which here, please.
L is 21 times square root of 3.
So that's L. Huh? There's H. Huh?
Y is X.
Okay. I expect this on your picture on every single problem. You have to draw and label your picture just like this, and then I want to see you label it S, L, and H every time. Does anyone not understand that? On your homework. I want you to do it just like this every time. What did they give to me? L is what? 21 square roots of what?
3.
What is it? So let's circle it. So when you're looking back at your notes, you know this is the what? What they gave you, so you know, okay, if they gave me L, how did we do it? Use this as a template. Now, so what do I always need to find first? In this case, what formula would I use for S?
L.
S is either H over 2 or L over square root of 3.
L over square
Yeah, I'd use L over square root of 3 because L is what they gave me something for. So S is equal to 21 what? Square roots of 3 over what? Square root of?
3.
Okay, the only thing that makes this kind of hard is what? Dealing with what? Radicals. What can you do here?
They both of them, they cancel out.
What'd you say, Chase? They divide into 1, leaving S just equal to a simple what? That's nice. Only thing left to find is what?
8.
What is H?
2 times X.
2 times whatever what? S is. What is S in this case? So H is equal to? So as you can see, it all changes according to what's given to you first, correct? Everybody get that written down. We won't take as long on this next one because it's, honestly, it's a lot easier.
It looks good.
Really, it's both of them are easy. It's just, it's new. Next thing we're going to talk about is probably going to be what? A 45, 45, 90, right triangle. Now, what do you think this means?
That means the angles are 45, 45, and 90.
Very good. That wouldn't be 45, that would be 90. This would be 45, and this would be 45. What do you think else I could say about a 45, 45, 90 triangle? Look at that picture.
Small.
Okay. What do we have in this angle? Or what do we have in this triangle? What's significant? What do you see?
Equals 180.
Huh?
Equals 180.
Equals 180, true.
2 angles are the same.
The 2 angles are the same, are they not? If you'll remember, if in 2 triangles, if these 2 angles are the same, what else? These sides are what? So if this one is L for leg, this one is also what? In a 45, 45, 90 triangle, your legs are always congruent. And so this one is what? So I'm going to ask you to label L and H on this as well. Okay? It doesn't really matter which one you find first here because there's 2 of them, right? Obviously they're going to give you, there's only 2 lengths here. It's either, they either give you L or they give you what? Because since both of these are the same. They give you L, obviously you're going to use the formula to find what? And vice versa. L is always equal to the hypotenuse divided by square root of 2. The hypotenuse is always equal to L times square root of 2. So you need to be able to recognize when they have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, this is how it works. Period. So when you're done writing that down, we'll go back to our workbooks and go back on page 101, we'll go back to number 1. To look at number 1 here, what type of triangle do I have now? 45 what?
45,
90 triangles. So I know these are congruent. So if this is 25, what's this?
25.
Same thing here, I want you to, up here to the right, I want you to write what L is equal to and what H is equal to. What did they give you? A value for what? So they gave you this first, correct? Well, looking at our formulas, what do I now need to find? And H is always equal to whatever L is, or no it isn't, it's equal to what? Whatever L is, times what? Square root of. So what am I going to put in here? So what is H equal to? Come on. 25 square roots of 2? How hard is that? Think we can do that?
You have to write L twice.
No. Oh, also on these, what do I want you to, still want you to label which is which. Okay? All right, on this one, and I'll zoom out and let you see both of them. Everybody eyes up here. Last one, so you guys can get started. What did they give to me? First of all, what's this? H, this is what? L, L, so this one's also X, isn't it? Because this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So they gave me what? H, and it is 17. How am I going to find L? I take whatever H is, which in this case is what?
17.
And I divide it by the square root of. Okay, am I done? Is that what I put in for L? What's the problem? Hmm?
Because you can't have a square root in the
You can't have a radical in the denominator, can you? So I have to do what's called rationalizing the denominator. What do I have to do? I don't want a radical to be there, so I multiply it times the same thing, because square root of x times square root of x is x, so square root of 2 times square root of 2 would give me what here? Just a 2 on the bottom, right? But what allows me to do that? Whatever I do at the bottom of the fraction, I have to what? Because I'm basically multiplying by 1 then and keeping everything the same. So this is 17 square roots of over 2. Do those reduce any? No, it doesn't. So that's my answer. So it's 17 square roots of 2 over 2. Any questions there? Oh, and circle your H so you know that that's what it looks like when they give you what first? H. I'm going to zoom out so you can see both of them, in case you didn't get the other one written down. Your assignment is on the board. Like I said, 28 through 30, you're going to mix 45, 45, 90s, and 30, 60, 90s. But after that, but the ones before, you know, it's only 19 problems.